All right, everybody. So we just got a big update in the realm of the lefty internet sphere drama today. A massive update. Something really big happened. You see, a few months ago, big lefty YouTuber by the name of Bomber Guy made a video about YouTube and plagiarism, and the video went like for hours talking about different content creators, how they've been caught in, plagiarism scandals. Some of them had initially been exposed by Bomber Guy, such as Illuminati, when it came to her plagiarism. But then eventually, the video lasered in. As most video essays do, we finally learned about 2/3 of the way into the video who the video essay was actually about specifically. And it was a YouTuber on the left who makes queer media review, critique, and analysis named James Somerton. Now, James, as you can see here from his channel, made a lot of different content. Ignore this one, the one that we're about to cover. The campy queer sensibilities of Barbie, the queer dystopia of the LGBT movement, sex, violence, showgirls, and the American way, the death of queer privacy. All these videos are basically like ideal lefty keyword spammed algorithm bait. Everything about these videos absolutely perfect for getting like a broad audience of progressives online to watch said videos. Here's the thing though. James Somerton was, at the end of Bomber's Guy video, of course, outed as a plagiarist. Many of these videos, although I imagine the ones that are shown here are probably skimmed through. He probably deleted the ones that were evidence. A bunch of his videos were outright stolen. Entire paragraphs just ripped from mostly other queer figures who have done media analysis on a broad scale. He was literally trying to put himself forward as this self-made LGBT film reviewer and critic, but he was literally stealing all of his everything, pretty much. Not everything, but a lot of his work was stolen from other LGBT figures that did what he does and just have less of a known presence, which is why he was able to get away with such blatant plagiarism for so long. And when I say blatant, I'm talking several minutes at a time of word for word repeating of lines. And then on top of that, you can tell where he tried to hide it, where he kind of paraphrased other people's writings, where it would be exactly the same, and then there would be a particular unique word, and he would substitute it with a different synonym for that word. So it looks like they didn't, he didn't copy anyone's homework, right? James Somerton's response to this was to literally delete all of his videos. Not delete, but to private all of his videos, and then just straight up private his channel. His profile picture was gone, all of his videos were gone, you couldn't watch them anymore, he just disappeared. And then as of today, he has returned. He has put at least some of his videos back up on YouTube. And he's put out a video called A Measured Response. It has a surprisingly low amount of views so far, 42,000 views in 6 hours. It's fairly new. I guess we're getting in on the ground floor of this one. I obviously don't want you guys to contribute views to this guy's channel, because he is a genuine snake. Ooh, likes are disabled too. Very good to see. Disabled likes. Oof. Likes and dislikes disabled. Not a good thing to see. Ooh, you don't want to see that 43,000, or no, it's about 44,000 people. That 44,000 number next to 200 likes. Wouldn't be a good look. Oh, comments are still on though. Hey, at least the comments are still on. Okay, and you know what the funniest thing too is? A measured response is stolen from Bomber Guy. The phrase, a measured response, is a title. He plagiarized that from Bomber Guy too. Even this video is doing plagiarism. We're off to an amazing start. Anyway, he finally put out the video. He finally is giving his side of things. I think he even put out an apology initially that fell so flat that he just deleted it and disappeared instantly. I believe this is his months in the making comeback video. It's Jover. Do you want me to post a link? No, no, no. I don't want you guys to post a link because then you guys would be able to like boost the viewership on the video. Yeah, I want you guys to watch the video through me dunking on it, so you don't give him views. That's kind of part of the whole point of this being a response. I got meme clips of James Somerton. I'll check those out in a minute, One Piece 34. But for now, I want to get to this segment. Content warning: discussion of self-harm from 2808 to 3004. Oh boy. Really? Really? That's where we're going with this video, huh? Is that how this is going to go? That's where we're going with this video? Okay. All right. Interesting. This is definitely an interesting strategy.
Just a disclosure, this video is monetized, but revenue from it will be sent along to...
Will it now? Where will it be sent?
To H-Bomber Guy's team to be dispersed to the people whose work I plagiarized. If his team won't accept it, I'll be making monthly donations to Wikipedia and TransLifeline going forward.
Why would it be H-Bomber's team, H-Bomber Guy's team's responsibility to deal with the distribution of payment for the money made off of you profiting from other people's plagiarized content? In what world, here, let me plug this thing in what world is it their responsibility to do that? And then what is he like starting the video out by trying to throw the ball into H-Bomber Guy's court? Like, okay, now whether or not these people who've been plagiarized end up seeing justice is up to H-Bomber Guy now, not me. Is that the vibe he's going for off the bat? Also, this comes off as very, very much an attempt to try to gain charitability out the gate. Like, oh, I'm going to donate to charity. Don't you guys like me? That kind of thing.
You may have also noticed that a few of my past videos have gone up on the channel again, and revenue from those as well will also be sent along with the revenue from this video. Over the last couple of months, I've been getting in touch with the people who I plagiarized to apologize one-on-one instead of a mass apology. It's a bit difficult because many of them don't have public email addresses, so I'm still working on it, but it is a top priority of mine.
I mean, at least he's not denying it at all. Like, out the gate, there's no denial, just straight up like, all right, talking about it under the pretense of everybody already knows what he did.
Heard back from a few of them, and they were actually incredibly nice, accepting my apology and just imploring me to do better in the future. So I want to thank them publicly for that. There's plenty.
I really don't think there's any coming back from something like this, because bet he didn't contact H-Bomber Guy. I mean, I feel like that's something that H-Bomber Guy could so easily call out. I don't know what his move is here, right? Like, what is he trying to do? He's done. Go do, like, the backup YouTuber thing and go edit for another YouTuber, you know? Like, when you're a YouTuber and your YouTube career drops, if you don't want to get, like, a non-internet job, the first choice is editing for another YouTuber. Every YouTuber/streamer should fundamentally have some editing skills, so I presume James Somerton can edit. Get a looking, because you're not coming back from this, homeboy. You're not coming back. You got the H-bomb dropped on you, okay? You're done, all right? It's time to surrender, okay? Just like the end of World War II. H-bombs get dropped, it's time to put hands in the air. It's over. We've elevated to a whole new plane of internet drama. He's done. He's irradiated.
That I haven't heard back from, and I completely understand that. In many cases, I wouldn't want to talk to me either. I also want to apologize to my audience, though. You trusted me to be a good representative of the queer community, and I was not that. I tried to be. I tried to be a voice for everyone.
Tried to be? At what moment were you trying to be a good voice for the queer community when you were, like, actively finding ways to try and hide the plagiarism? Because a lot of it was like, hey, can I copy your homework? Yeah, but make it look different so it doesn't look like you copied, or whatever the term. I don't remember exactly how the meme goes. Like, it was obvious that not only did he do the plagiarism, but he actively tried to cover it up and obscure it.
Every member of the queer community, but that was a failed endeavor.
I can't buy the narrative of, like, Is he going to try to say? Is he going to say he tried to kill himself, so we should all forgive him? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where this is going. Like based off the trigger warning at the beginning of the video, I'm guessing he's going to try to bring up self-harm for sympathy points. Genuinely, if you are an online internet figure, you probably shouldn't talk about self-harm unless it's like a very far thing of the past, and there's no way anyone can try to like spin it as being like for the sake of gaining sympathy. It's not a very good strategy on his part. It's not very good. I feel like a lot of people are going to see right through it.
Before it even started, I'm a cis white gay man. No matter how much I try to be a good spokesperson, I can never really truly understand the life experiences of other far more put upon.
Oh, geez. Is this the route? Is this the route that he's going? Is it going to be like the I'm a cis white man? I'm going to put myself down so you guys understand that I know my place as a cis white man on the left now? Is that like the route he's going to try to take? Because remember, like, when we usually cover internet drama, okay? When we cover internet drama, typically, the standards for, like, forgiveness are different for, like, your average, everyday, normal YouTuber who's just kind of, like, you know, not involved with politics, and a lefty YouTuber. For a lefty YouTuber in a situation like this, he's got the option to play hard to a base of people that are like gigasoy mega lefties that will just hear him say this like virtue signaling line and unironically just hear that and think, maybe his heart is in the right place. Maybe that's his thought process. How many of those people will actually fall for this is a whole different question. I genuinely don't think even like the woke scoldy part of the left is going to come out behind him because he appealed to their sensibilities. I don't think it's going to work.
On members of the queer community. This is one of the reasons that
you should have broken out the ukulele.
Their own words, but I should have made it very clear that that's what I was doing. I never, ever thought that I was the only voice out there, as some have said, but being a cis white man, I thought I might be able to win over some people who wouldn't.
Hold on. In what world is James Somerton content meant to be, like, convincing of, like, people intolerant of those in marginalized groups? James Somerton videos are and have always been a heavily marketed towards people already on the left that already agree with it, already part of, like part of the LGBT community. Like, that is what his content's marketed towards. I highly doubt, like, white, chuddy, cishet dudes were stumbling across James Somerton's videos, learning about, like, queer culture and literature, and finding themselves, like, transformed politically by what they've learned. Like, there's no way James Somerton, A, thinks that was the case, or that that was the case at all. Neither are possible.
Otherwise listen, unless it was someone who looks and sounds just like them. And
it really feels like YouTube video essays on the left stopped having that, like, pull people from other political parties or groups side. Like, there was a time when it felt like a lot of lefty, even breadtube, like, video essayist content was made, whether on purpose or not, for a much more broad audience and with a side aspect of convincing a lot of normies to believe in progressive ideology. Nowadays, it feels like content creators from ContraPoints to, even to a degree, like H-Bomber Guy, like their video, obviously H-Bomber Guy much less so, but a lot of these content creators really do feel like, it's not that they got too preachy, it's that it feels like they've niched down to just being content creators for their, like, set community. And that's it. Like, it feels like so many of these video essayist figures have kind of, like, settled on just making videos for people who already agree with them. And so I don't buy this talking point that, like, he was hoping that by plagiarizing queer authors, he would be able to convince people who wouldn't take them seriously to engage with their literature. We're talking about people who are discriminatory towards LGBT people, and you think that getting them to engage with LGBT or like queer theory and literature is going to convince them to not be homophobic. Maybe once in a blue moon, but most people's bigotries on these topics stem from somewhere very different than, like, they need to just read some more. Like, it usually comes from somewhere emotional.
So I tried speaking for everyone, and this was a horrible mistake.
Also, yeah, if he wanted to do that, if he wanted to, like, bring attention to what they believe, he would have sourced them properly. It genuinely isn't hard to source things. You just got to copy it and paste the link. It's not that hard. In the description, just like links in the description. There you go. Like, you're making a video essay. It's not that hard. Just copy and paste every link you're pulling info from as you go and put them into a document. And then there you go. You've got literally every single link you used as a source collected together for copy and pasting directly into the description. Like, I genuinely think James Somerton could have had the same level of success and never have faced this, like, issue had he never made the statements he made that were stolen under the pretense of him being the one to have said them in the first place. Had he just made all of his scripts be the same, but added in, and this person said this, it wouldn't be plagiarism, no one would care, and the content would be just as good. I feel like for him, it was an ego boost. His content was in no way, shape, or form improved by the fact that people thought he was this, like, original writer of these phrases and these paragraphs that came from queer authors. It was for his ego, so that lots of people who watched his content would think he's smart and he's so knowledgeable about progressive topics. That's the only line of logic that makes sense to me personally. And I know a lot of YouTubers, so I know how they think, and that's kind of how James Somerton comes off.
What I thought was being inclusive ended up leading to a lot of people feeling left out and even offended. This fell upon Nick as well as a...
Yeah, we're talking like 90% of scripts stolen word for word, but that's fine. There are entire YouTubers on YouTube whose entire job is like, okay, here's a video I watched earlier today. In Deep Geek does a lot of content primarily on Tolkien lore, like Lord of the Rings lore. And the video is simply titled, "Why Didn't They Just Throw the Ring in the Sea or Bury It?" And then from there, the video is mostly just reading excerpts from the book where they acknowledge that point to explain why they couldn't have done that. Like, there's some talking, but it's mostly just, here are the excerpts from the book, now let's commentate on it. Let's elaborate on it. That type of content is extraordinarily successful on YouTube. I watch the hell out of it. So I feel like if James Somerton just made, like, queer literature, like in Deep Geek, basically, it would be the same content. Like, only 10% of the scripts would have to be his own words, so super low effort in that part. And he would still have the same audience reach, appeal, and no doubt success. Because then you get to add those authors in as part of the SEO and metadata, honestly, for your video. And that gets even more appeal from people who are fans of that content. And you don't get this drama. Like, this was so avoidable for him, too. The only way I believe that the only reason I believe he did this is for his ego.
A non-binary person on the A spectrum. They wanted to include asexuality and non-binary representation in our videos. But because Nick's experience is not universal, there is no universal experience, people felt that we were delegitimizing their own experiences because we focused on Nick's, and I apologize for that, and I'm sure that Nick does as well.
No, what is this, like, weird focusing on a nothing point that nobody is concerned with in regards to this drama? What?
I'd also like to extend a personal apology to Jesse Earl, better known as Jesse Gender. Out of everyone that I spoke to who was also a YouTuber.
Like, what's he referring to there? I don't know what drama, like, branch off drama that is. I haven't heard anything about what he's referring to there. I think most people are just like, hey, broadly, like most of your content was plagiarized. You're done, buddy. You know, like, there's no response to be had. I guess an apology is fine, but Why is it called a measured response and not a measured apology? Like, I'm expecting now, because it's called a response, I'm expecting for it to go full Illuminati and for it to become like an attack, like a hit piece.
Jesse was by far the kindest person. I think Jesse might be one of the kindest people I've ever met or ever encountered. We never actually met in person. Because of my hot-headedness, I drew her into just this anger spiral of mine that was unwarranted and absolutely ruined a possible friendship. Jessie was actually doing her best to kind of mitigate my frustration and everything and at that moment, and I just wasn't allowing her to do that, and I really, truly, honestly want to apologize to her for that. Again, if you ever get the chance to speak with Jessie one-on-one, or if you have gotten
I don't
chance,
know
you'll
enough
know
about this part
just how
of the
nice she
drama.
is and how kind, and I was a real ass.
Is he referring to Jesse Gender? Is that who he's talking about? Like, I think I'm blocked by Jesse Gender. Yeah, Jesse Earl. Oh, no, I'm not. I can see her posts. 21 hours ago. 18, 16, 15, 3. My tweets are not my final say. Video essay or full thoughts on a subject. Okay. So she hasn't tweeted anything to, like, debunk what James Somerton has said so far, for any that are curious. Jesse Earl's not tweeted anything that, like, at all in regards to this. Granted, the video is only 6 hours old. She might not even know it came out, but no tweets yet as of the making of this video.
For dragging
yeah,
her into my
the problem is, Larry Banks, that tweet that I just read was from, like, last year.
reactionary, unwarranted frustration. We haven't spoke since all of that happened. But Jesse, if you are watching this video, I do want you to know that I am honestly sorry for that.
Sorry. Canadian
Truly,
sorry.
Honestly, I hope everything goes as well as possible for you, because you deserve all of it. There was a misunderstanding between Jesse and I after that happened that I do want to clear up, where someone who at least claimed to be a fan of Jesse's, did an internet and threatened to kill me, which is, being...
One person who claims to be a fan of Jesse Genders did an internet, Tumblr speak, love Tumblr speak, and threatened to kill you. Dog, everybody from everybody's community is sending death threats to every YouTuber every day, okay? There's a big difference between one person sent a death threat that says that people say or said was from that community, and this YouTuber did something that is very clearly then led to a harassment campaign or a wave of harassment and death threats that, like, the original person is culpable for. This feels like really dishonest. Like, the random bringing up of, like, one person from Jesse Gender's audience told me to unalive myself. What? Like, yeah, it's the internet. That's like, I would panic if I got on the internet and I did not have any kill yourself messages. Like, if I woke up one morning and I came to my PC and I checked my DMs and there was no kill yourself messages, I would start panicking and frantically checking the news to see if the world is ending. Is there a zombie apocalypse? Are aliens invading? Did the sun go out? I would be concerned if I got on the internet and didn't immediately get hit with toxicity, because that is not usual. The internet is just a naturally toxic place. I grew up there. It's part of what I love about the internet. But the idea that one person from one person's audience, like, I'm sure that person was a fan of other YouTubers too. What bearing does that have on Jesse Gender? Nothing Jesse Gender did or said led to people sending death threats to James Somerton. What is the point of this other than to try to garner sympathy and even try to sneakily create some level of like derision towards Jessie Gender? Mind you, I don't get along with Jessie Gender. Like, I'm not friends with her. But like, regardless, she did nothing wrong in this. I at least from what I remember and from what I saw on Twitter and from what James Somerton is saying, it doesn't seem like she did anything wrong in this. So why this weird sort of sleight of hand attempt to make her look bad or make her look culpable for some one weirdo's actions?
For you, because you deserve all of it. There was a misunderstanding between Jessie and I after that happened.
I truly don't understand how you and Vosh can handle so much raw animosity directed at you. Well, Vosh probably gets more of it because he's bigger, but like for me, I mean, I guess the animosity gets me if it's from people that I know care or liked me before. So like if there's a drama where like people unironically that were like big into my community drop me, that kind of hurts. But if it's just people hating me, I mean, it's the internet. Like, I'm a lefty content creator. You exist in a constant stream of like of like fire, you know? There's no like getting out of that, and there was no ambiguity about that being the case before I started. So it's less so like how do I endure it, and more so just like I grew up spending a lot of time on the internet. There was no point in which I was like ever seeing it as a weird thing. It's just how the internet is. It's not really like a good or bad thing in my eyes. It's just that is the internet.
That I do want to clear up, where someone who
it's like playing on hard mode.
A fan of Jessie's, did an internet and threatened to kill me, which is, being a person on the internet, death threats are unfortunately not uncommon. At the time, though,
what's the point of
I was
mentioning
in a very
this?
panicked state, and so I did report it to the police. I did not report Jessie to the police, which is the misunderstanding that people came away.
TBTT players have thick skin. I also came from TBTT, right? Like I came from a place way more toxic than even like most of the like political space. Anyway, yeah, like the thing that's so weird to me about this is like sympathy points, trying to get sympathy points, and also how fucking deranged do you have to be to call the authorities on some stranger who sent you a death threat online? Like, dog, you're a YouTuber. I have, like, what, fucking 90-something or 80-something thousand subs? I forget how many subs I have. Like, I get death threats regularly. James Somerton is way bigger, or was way bigger. The idea that one death threat from one person would lead to, like, I've got to call the authorities. I've got to do something about this. Like, it's the internet. People make threats. They just have to type it. It's that easy. Like, that is a massive overreaction. I never heard about this, but I guess there was drama about this when it came out that, like, James Somerton, like, freaked out, called the cops on one of, like, Jessie Gender's fans that, like, sent a death threat.
I did not report Jessie to the police. I would have no reason to do that. And it did end up that this person had a prior record with the police of violent acts, and they actually lived quite near me. So the police took it very seriously. They took it so seriously that they implored me not to speak to Jessie, which I took their advice on, which I shouldn't have, honestly. I should have at least clarified to Jessie what was going on and not just left her hanging. And so I want to, again, apologize to Jessie for that. But in that state, I listened to the police, which is, maybe not the best decision all the time because the cops...
Dude, it's all like ways in which he can shirk off like a good chunk of the responsibility for his actions, and he keeps on finding ways to round it about to like lefty political talking points. First it's, I'm a cis male and I thought like, maybe I could use my privilege to like expose the world to the words of these queer authors. And, I listened to the police, which, I really shouldn't have done. It's my bad. I should have known better. But, they told me not to talk to Jessie Gender, and that's why I wasn't able to work things out. And that's why you guys think it was actually this way. Like, it's all, here's a way to shrug responsibility, victim mentality, followed up with virtue signaling political values that his fans like to try to get back on their good side. But in like a self-deprecating way, like I should have known to be a better lefty and this never would have happened. Like, had I been better at being a progressive, I would have known not to do what the cops told me to do. Like, that's what he's saying. Like, I'll be a better left-winger in the future is essentially like the vibe I'm getting.
Don't usually have the best interests of people at heart. So, Jesse, I want to apologize for that and everything else that happened. Completely understand why you would not want to speak to me ever again, but I just want you to know that I am.
I'm going to speed up the video a little slightly because the video started with him talking kind of fast, but now he's slowed down his talking speed, so I'm going to up it to 1.5x.
I'm sorry. But now back on the original topic. The work Nick and I were doing on the channel, we wanted it to be, for everyone. We wanted it to be a channel where every queer person could feel welcomed, and we failed at that. That is something that in hindsight I think is impossible to create, and that's why it's important for there to be
What is this? I hate this. I hate this guy. I actually hate this guy. I see through all of it. I see through all of this guy's like slimy, manipulative fucking bullshit. I see through all of it, dude. Like, what he is doing right now is trying to say, I tried to do a good thing that I now realize is impossible to achieve, and suggesting the impossibility of achieving that good thing means that he is somehow absolved of some responsibility because all he was trying to do was a good thing, but he can't change the fact that apparently it's impossible to make a space on YouTube where LGBT people can feel represented. Apparently that's just impossible, according to him now.
Many different queer voices in spaces like YouTube, and there are. What's more important is that those voices are discoverable, which is something that I should have been helping with. I often shared other queer...
You actively hindered it. Like, it's not just that you didn't help, it's that you hindered it. People watch videos like James Somerton's, and they get a massive case of Dunning-Kruger because they heard some, like, filtered, boiled-down version of, like, actual professional writings, like, regurgitated by a YouTuber, and then they develop... I need you guys to fight against this as, like, audiences of mine, especially, and of any content creator. Do not catch the Dunning-Kruger. No matter how confident you start to feel that you know all there is to know about shit, you don't. But people who watch content on YouTube will watch like 5 or 6 videos and feel like they're an expert, feel like they know everything, and they will not seek out any further info to back up their knowledge. So James Somerton was essentially creating an audience of people who would hear boiled down, filtered versions of other people's better work, think they know all they need to know about that stuff, and obviously these are people who are already not too interested in reading about this stuff themselves, and they're actively going to feel as though they have no need to seek out that kind of content when maybe they could have in the future. So you can actually make the case that he harmed the ability for some of these people to actually get their name out there and get their words out there and get the credit they deserve.
Creators on Twitter, but
obviously this drama being made now means that those figures are getting more attention than they ever have before, but that's not a good on James Somerton. That's a good on us for making this such a big drama that, people are hearing the names of the people that James Somerton plagiarized now.
But this was when I only had, 800.
I know quite a few people. I know quite a few people in my own audience bought some of the books James Somerton plagiarized after H. Bomber Guy shouted them out.
These creators usually had a whole lot more than that. It was a weird thing because usually they would have infinitely more Twitter followers, but a whole lot less YouTube subscribers. I'm not sure what created that dichotomy.
What is he talking about?
Off
what?
With the algorithm there. Their followers,
what is...
and these are. What's more important is that those voices are possible to create, and that's why it's important for there to be many different queer voices in spaces like YouTube, and there are. What's more important is that those voices are discoverable, which is something that I should have been helping with. I often shared other queer creators on Twitter, but this was when I only had, 800, 1,000 Twitter followers, and these creators usually had a whole lot more than that. It was a weird thing. Because usually...
how convenient. You used to shout people out all the time when you were a small content creator, but then when you became a large content creator and your shout-outs mattered, and like you could gain nothing from like any more shout-outs for the most part, unless someone's bigger than you stopped doing that at all and started plagiarizing. Does he think that makes him sound good? Like, a YouTuber sounds good if they have a large audience and still shout people out. Like me. But like James Somerton saying, I used to shout people out back when I had 1,000 followers, isn't as much of a flex as I think he believes it is.
they would have infinitely more Twitter followers, but a whole lot less YouTube subscribers. I'm not sure what created that dichotomy, but something was definitely off with the algorithm there. There is a part of my brain that says YouTube kind of went, oh, white male queer, let's push him, and, ignore.
Dude, the virtue signaling is so strong. He's trying to win over his ex-fans on the, woke talking points.
Or everyone else in the community, whereas people were able to actually discover other queer creators on Twitter and then make their way to YouTube, but the YouTube algorithm that's the most negative.
So I need you guys to understand what he's doing right now is trying to drum up sympathy, not through woe is me, but through making himself, through self-deprecation, come off as though he's grown so much from his past self that he's actually criticizing that past self, not his current self, and he's a different person now, and he's grown, and he really just meant he only ever had good intentions, and he just made bad mistakes, and he needs to learn not to make those bad mistakes. That is what he's trying to do right now. Garner sympathy through self-deprecation, but not in a woe is me way, but in a look how morally grand I am and meant to be, as a suggestion that he deserves forgiveness. Not an outright asking or demanding for forgiveness, but making the case that because of his moral superiority, that he deserves forgiveness.
Interpretation I have of it, which unfortunately may be true. In any case, I should have done more to share the voices of other queer people, certainly the people.
He still has his Patreon in the description. Awesome.
Whose works I used, both credited and plagiarized in my videos, but also just other creators on YouTube. It's important for us as a community, as vaguely defined as we are, to support each other. And I didn't do that nearly enough. From day one, I was very taken in by the idea of being a YouTuber. As soon as my videos started to get recommended by the algorithm, after not releasing a new video for 2 years, I felt like I had a short period of time to get the next videos out as soon as possible.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. Oh, I had to plagiarize because I felt like I had so little time to get videos out. Dog, I upload 3 times a day. YouTube's a numbers game. If I stop uploading for a week, it's Jover, dude. What? I don't plagiarize. I don't get into shit like this. I get that I'm a streamer and all that, but YouTube is a numbers game. But when you've got a Patreon supporter base, like he does, and you make the content that he does and this side of lefty content sphere does, you can take a year off of uploading. You really can. There are so many video essayists that are smaller than James Somerton that make a decent amount of money off of Patreon with their relatively small audience and take months at a time off of making videos, come back, make one video to 80,000 to 180,000 views, and then they don't upload again for 6 more months. And they're just supported through Patreon. There are multiple mid and lower sized video essayists on the left that is their I don't want to say hustle because I make it sound like they're grifting, but that's their content / monetization strategy. These content creators can get away with those spread out, dispersed uploads. Non-prepared content can't. I don't buy this from someone who makes prepared content and then prepared to hide his stealing of other people's work.
Into the writing of them, and so much was taken from other places, plagiarized. Early on, I thought crediting authors in the opening credits alone was enough, especially since the videos weren't monetized early on. But I understand now, especially after speaking with some of the people who I did plagiarize, that was just, I was wrong. That was not the way to go about it. They should have been cited properly within the text of the video.
Yeah.
They should have been called out.
Remember, guys, everybody got taught how to properly cite their sources in high school and middle school and even a little bit in elementary school. There's no he forgot. There's no he didn't know. Everybody knows to cite your sources, and every YouTuber especially knows that citing your sources is not doing so is a massive faux pas. Hell, even reacting to another YouTuber's video and not including a link to the original video is a pretty big faux pas. I get shit in my comments when my editor forgets to include links like that. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal. Everybody knows. Every YouTuber especially who makes this type of content knows you are supposed to credit the people who you are getting your content from.
Out in the video at least once, verbally.
This is pleading insanity.
Having
Good one,
citations on
Hakon.
screen. If there were a whole lot of them, with, one of the examples that H. Bomber Guy used in his video was the Deep Cuts video, there were a whole lot of people who I, credited in the opening credits, but really it's plagiarism. They should have been cited on screen with actual citations of, links where you can find this stuff. Maybe there should have even been a bibliography that you could have gone to, like on a Google Drive or something like that. Because
you can literally just copy and paste the links in the description. Here, let me show you a really good example, actually. One of my favorite videos to bring up when we get sometimes you run into transphobes that don't just repeat bargain bin talking points. They're an actual ex-medical figure official, ex-medical official or ex-doctor who chased money into the right-wing grift. And they actually can use smart-sounding words and intelligent scientific jargon to back up what they're saying, not just repeating women have vagina, man have penis, right? And so when those videos come up, I like to back up what I'm saying with a really good video done by SciShow, with Hank Green acting as the sort of purveyor of the information on the topic of sex and gender not being binary. It discusses, of course, the fact that human sex is a bimodal distribution, backs this up. And here, let me look it up. SciShow is not binary. I really like how they did their description. Here.
Can be equally...
Whoa. Science proves there are more than two human sexes. It's super based video and all that. Let's look at how they did their sources. Sources. And then just a big fucking link. And then even a link to the image sources, where you can find the images they used in the video that weren't made by them. Chapters. We've got fucking chapters laid out. A transcript for the video that's attached. Dude, I get that this is a far more high production value channel with 8 million views, and that pulls millions of views per video, but it's just it's not as hard as he's making it out to be. You can really just get every link you pulled info from while doing research or writing the script for your video, copy paste them very liberally into your document, and then copy paste that into the sources section. It's the most low effort way to do it, but at least no one can say you just blatantly stole their content and their words without any form of credit.
Yeah, although I might have stated that the scripts were based upon the work of these authors, it in many cases wasn't just based on their work, it was their work, word for word. In some cases, I did get permission, like with the Evil Queens Disney video. I'll put the email up on the screen that I got from Sean Griffin, where he did give me permission to publish the video. I sent the finished video to him, and he watched it.
Damn, that actually fit. Did you guys know that fixes every single other instance of him plagiarizing? I didn't realize one time he got permission. That means we got to forgive him on all this stuff, guys. I didn't realize he got permission once.
In most cases.
I didn't realize one time he didn't do the bad thing.
The author's name in the opening credits was enough. I was much more interested in the production of the videos than the writing of them at this point. So after 3 or 4 videos, I brought Nick on as a main writer for the channel. The idea is that they would write the vast majority of the scripts. I would film, voice, and edit the videos, and we'd split the money that came in. We were roommates at the time, and Nick didn't have a job, so I figured it would help both of us. This is actually when we had some of our biggest videos, like the ones talking about Wiccan and Hulkling, where we lucked out because it came out right in time for WandaVision to hit. And then the Killing Stalking video, which became our biggest video by far. The Sadism of Class was another one. These videos weren't plagiarized, and we loved...
Throwing Nick under the bus again? Yeah, he is throwing his editor under the bus quite a bit. Are the editor and him still on good terms? Is he legit just throwing his editor under the bus? No, I don't think so. Dog. Oh, that's grimy.
Making them. It didn't take long for the channel income to start growing. Lucky timing, really, because this was around the same time that I was laid off, since the company that I was working for downsized once COVID hit its second year. Nick and I had both grown up poor.
Yeah,
so we
co-script
started
writer,
doing what we could to try and stabilize our income as much as possible. This meant putting out more videos, which meant I had to take over more of the writing duties. But since filming, editing, usually doing multiple edits because of YouTube copyright issues, as well as managing the channel and dealing with my mom's recent cancer diagnosis, all of that was already taking up so much of my time and attention. This led to a...
I get it. Woe is me, woe is me. None of this is an excuse for plagiarizing. I love he only got the permission after plagiarizing. True Slashy. He asked for forgiveness and received it and thinks that retroactively makes the action better. You're completely right, Slashy. Also, remember, as much as he's going to try to, distract you with sleight of hand to direct your attention at how woe is me his backstory is about why he did all of this, remember, he plagiarized. He blatantly stole people's work in order to make profit. He's still got his Patreon in the description of this video. He's still got this monetized. He threw the ball into H Bomber Guy's court for people to get their money back for this. Did he delete his channel? He privated his entire channel when all of this first came out, disappeared, and now he's finally come back, unprivating most of his videos, at least. And he put out this god-awful apology 6 hours ago. This is fresh off the presses.
A lot of copy and pasting blocks of text into scripts. My intention...
Is he paying the people he stole from? No, he expects, Hawkon, he expects H Bomber Guy's team to take the money from this video and pay it to the people he plagiarized from, not him. And he said if they don't want to do it, he'll donate it to trans charities, which is fine, like the trans charity thing is. But, like, what is that talking point that the ball is in H Bomber Guy's court, and if he doesn't take care of like getting the money to the people who deserve it, then they don't get it. It's on H Bomber Guy and his team to do that, not him, who did the theft, who did the bad thing, who had to be exposed by H Bomber Guy. Now all of a sudden it's H Bomber Guy's fucking responsibility to handle it. No, it's what he's doing right now is trying to get the like virtue signal points of saying I'm raising money for charity with this video, while also using it as an opportunity to give an ultimatum to H Bomber Guy that is like practically unacceptable, so that when H Bomber Guy rejects the ultimatum, he can say, well, H Bomber Guy had the opportunity to reimburse the people that I plagiarized from. That's what he's trying to do.
At the time was to use these as a jumping off point once Nick and I sat down to edit the script, because that's what we would do. I would sort of put in my parts, Nick would put in his parts, and then we would sit down at a table, read through the whole script, and kind of try and make it seem cohesive. But, and here's something I'm sure a lot of people will call a bullshit excuse, I have memory issues because of a head injury from when I was a child. They're actually getting worse. I've talked about it on streams and in videos, so yes, it is real, but some people will call it a bullshit excuse anyway. The head injury is actually what led to me having epilepsy, which is why I can't work in any job that...
Oh my fucking god, he's actually going to try to blame that he did this on a head injury? I feel like if you get a head injury, you're either fine or you're gonna die. Or you're really badly hurt. I don't feel like most head injuries, like, for no reason, for like your whole life just continue to get worse. I may be wrong. Is Delancey here? Medical professional? I don't know. That just comes off as a really nothing excuse. Yeah, I don't buy that personally. Like, I don't have any head injury that's like causing some kind of brain anything that I can pull from. Yes, it sounds like bullshit to you, Delancey. I will say, and I know I stun lock a lot, but it literally will never stop like humbling the shit out of me that like people who have served in the military or who serve in the medical field and whatnot, or teachers or parents even, watch my content. It just gives me this strange feeling of like, man, people who know and have been through so much view my words as valuable. It's different. It's real different. Blame it on my ADD, baby. Is that what he's about to do? Is he actually about to blame it on, like... I heard someone in the comments say he is going to blame it on, like, being neurodivergent or something. Like, he's literally neurodivergent and a minor. You can't blame him.
That involves physical labor. Employers can't get insurance for me to like lift things or operate vehicles and stuff like that. I actually did marketing for a restaurant group for a little while, but got let go when they found out that I was epileptic because, at least according to them, I couldn't be insured to be in the kitchens where I needed to be to film videos and take photos and stuff like that. But anyway, when it came to editing the scripts, I couldn't remember what I'd written and what had been copy-pasted. We should have just chucked out everything that I had put into the scripts and filled them in with wholly original thoughts, or I should have been taking notes on where...
This is crap. Oh, wait. James Somerton is Canadian, and Dark Canuck in chat is also Canadian, and Dark Canuck is calling bullshit on James Somerton. My best friend... Or wait, hold on. This is crap. He has great health care. I've got 4 shunts and a coil in my brain. I'm much better off than him. Yeah, like... If he was American, maybe I'd buy it. Like, untreated brain injury, but, like, if your kid falls and gets a brain injury... In Canada, you take them to the hospital. I've heard stories from Canadian friends where they literally went to the hospital because of constipation. Like, you know how sometimes you just wake up in the middle of the night and you feel like you're dying because it feels like your guts are going to explode? In reality, it just means that, like, in an hour or two, you're not gonna be resting in the restroom, that's for sure. And you're like, oh, I'm dying, and then like 2 hours later, you're like, oh, never mind, I was fine. You know, like, I'm not even recognized as Canadian anymore. You are Canadian, but I've met Canadian people who've told me stories about like just going to the hospital for stuff like that, and it's like, damn, in America, you got to know you're dying before you go to the hospital. Or actively be bleeding like a lot, a lot. Or broken bone, like not like a dislocated bone that can pop back in, like a broken bone, like a fracture. It has to be. Besides those three things, you're really realistic, or death. Realistically, you're not going to the hospital, like in America. Like, and if it's something that you could handle at home, like let's say for example, like you're cutting some roses or whatever, like trimming roses in your backyard, and like the clippers, which are quite sharp, like they just end up cutting your leg, like a bad cut, and like one that could require stitches. In America, people just apply as much pressure as possible to close it, wrap it up in something. If there's gauze, you know, gauze is cheaper than a trip to the doctor or the hospital, and you just hope that shit heals. You know, last resort is going to the doctor for most Americans. Absolutely last resort. So I see the point that Dark Canuck is making here, where I do kind of get the vibe that, like, I don't believe you that you've got this like untreated health, like a brain injury that's getting worse with your age and causing you problems. I don't know about that.
Where things came from so that we could at least cite them in the videos, if nothing else, but I never did that. According to my therapist, my not thinking to do that probably stems from my recently diagnosed ADHD, but I don't know if I'm willing to.
God fucking damn it. You guys spoiled it. You spoiled it for me. You really pulled the I'm literally neurodivergent and a minor. I'm going to have my editor, Ethan, make that the thumbnail. It's going to be him making like a little sad face, like a ooh woo, please forgive me face. And the text on screen is going to say neurodivergent and a minor on the thumbnail, is what it's going to say. In quotes. I think that'll be a fantastic thumbnail. He's basically using that defense right now. We finally got the anti-vaxxer video up, and Ethan was really proud of that thumbnail with the live Voldemort reaction in the bottom left of the thumbnail, like in response to the anti-vaxxers calling themselves purebloods. It's a good thumbnail. I'm proud of him for that one. Ethan treats every thumbnail like, okay, unless it's a really serious topic that needs to be treated with levity, how can I make this thumbnail funny? Can I fit a funny joke in this thumbnail? And sometimes we end up laughing really hard and painfully while we're like making thumbnails. Like he'll screen share making the thumbnail and be like, oh, turn this, like use this or use this screenshot, or he'll come up with like a horrific idea, like the one for the the semen retention guy, where like the Pepe is like catching a drop of semen in his mouth in the thumbnail. That idea was Ethan's, and we were just laughing painfully while making the thumbnail the entire time. So yeah, I think that's what we'll do. As opposed to like whatever process James Somerton and their editor had going on, where it was like, okay, whose content are we going to steal? Whose book are we going to plagiarize?
Say that, really. Maybe it was, or maybe it was just plain laziness. Maybe I thought that this was somewhere that I could cut a corner because I was torn in so many other directions. Honestly, I can't remember, like I said. Memory issues. But yes, we should have just thrown out my contributions to the scripts and filled them in with original writing, but we felt like we had too much of a time crunch. We felt like we had to get videos out more often to feed the algorithm. And then my mom died, and I became completely useless. I couldn't think straight at all. So Nick had to completely take over writing duties while I dealt.
Listen, I do get this. Like, I get that this is tough, but this kind of goes back to like the Hassan topic before. YouTubers get so used to the privileges that they have that they completely forget how tone deaf this comes off. Who the fuck gets to take months off of work because their mom died? Hypers in chat, if you would be able to take months off of work because your mom died. Because I guarantee most of you, if that happened, your boss might give you a day off, and the day later says, tough shit, get back into work. I got 1 week off. That's nice, at least. Like, that's not even close to an option for people. The idea of like, oh, my mom died, I'm going to take months off of work because I feel bad. Fuck no. That's the most like privileged YouTuber streamer brained thing to ever complain about. The vast majority of your fans, dude, if their mom or grandma or dog or fucking child dies, the most they can hope for is like maybe a week off. But at the end of the day, their boss is going to say, tough shit, get into work or you're fired. And you got to keep bills paid. You got to keep money coming in. Like, most people do not have the privilege. Like, it's, you got to fight against the streamer brain. I always constantly remind myself of how lucky I have it to do what I do. And I try my best not to sound tone deaf when I complain about things, because I know, like, I have no right to complain. You guys are probably working much more grueling jobs than I am. I'm on disability. I don't have a job, Lamau. Well, that's a special case. That's a special case. Most people in chat are probably like quite exhausted right now. like watching this stream is either their like anchor to get through work, or their like decompression after getting off work, or their distraction while they are off work from going back to work. One of those three things is what this video actively is acting as for most of my audience. So it really does seem tone deaf when someone like James Somerton kind of talks about this in the way that he does. Like, yeah, boo-hoo, your mom died, that's sad and all, but like most people don't get to say, oh, I took months off work because my mom died, sorry guys. That's not like a, like just saying that is so tone deaf.
With things you deal with after a person dies. My dad, you see, he can't read or write. He was very poor when he was a kid, so he had to leave school really young to work.
Listening at work
in
is
order to
late,
feed
true.
His many brothers and sisters. So I had to deal with all the legal stuff after my mom died, as well as making sure that all my dad's bills were paid and whatnot, especially after his income was basically cut in half. There was supposed to be a buffer here, money-wise, as my mom had a life insurance policy that was going to be split between my dad and myself. But the insurance company, RBC Insurance, so if you have insurance with them, maybe rethink that, refused to pay out the policy.
I love how we've started from like, how we're on a different video. It's been like the first 15 minutes, maybe we could say, was about the drama. We are on to a different video. We've talked about his ADHD, and now we're talking about his mom dying and like not getting the insurance money from her death and how that hurt his finance. Does he not know how tone deaf this is? He realizes how enormously tone deaf this is, right? I'm not the only one who's detecting the bullshit, right?
Because my mother never mentioned that she had family with diabetes. She didn't have diabetes, but because she didn't think to mention that she had family with diabetes, it apparently voided the policy. All they did was refund a year's worth of premiums that she'd paid, even though she'd been paying them for about 15 years. One of the things, the main thing, really, that I was supposed to do with my portion of the insurance money was I was supposed to make a movie. These were direct instructions from my mom herself. She'd been very much behind me.
Yeah, bullshit. Does that sound right to you? Delance, so you work in the medical field, so you probably know, I don't know if you work in the American medical field, or Canadian medical field, actually, is what it would be, sorry. But, like, does this sound right to you? That, like, insurance, it does sound somewhat right. I know that you don't want to have a lot of comorbidities or habits that could potentially lower your life expectancy because it's going to raise your premiums on your insurance, because the idea behind insurance is that these companies are investing in you, basically. Or you're investing in them in a way, but they're investing in you. You're paying them over a long period of time with them hoping they never have to drop fat stacks on paying for the thing that you're paying for. Both parties hope you never have to use their service, ever. And yet the profit relies on a one-way exchange of income from lots of people, hoping that those people don't end up having to use that service. So yeah, it sounds right. It is bullshit, he's saying. Okay, Delancer, who works in medicine, says this is bullshit and sounds like bullshit. So do with that what you will.
When I decided, when I was about 10, that I wanted to be a filmmaker. And she wanted me to finally have the opportunity to do that, even if she never got to see it. So when the life insurance went bust, I decided to try and crowdfund it. At least enough to...
He's already ripped off the completionist Illuminati and H-Bomber guy with the title already. Oh, That is a good one, War Penguin. You are on fire today with your zingers.
make a short film or two. This is what Telos grew out of. So, what happened with Telos? Let me break down the timeline. When we launched the campaign in February of 2022,
What are we
hoped to
talking
raise
about?
$3,000 to produce a short film that we hoped. The feature we settled on, entitled Final Girl, was about the lone survivor of a slasher movie type massacre to spend 2 months at home in Ottawa, Ontario with family. I sent the script to him to read right away because I was very proud of it, but Nick didn't want to share his opinion on it until he got back to the East Coast.
We're
So in the
throwing
meantime-
Nick under the bus.
at least for a little while. In the meantime, he would take a train to the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area, once a month to work on YouTube videos for a few days.
He's trying to make his fans forget about the drama. Start with the drama, woe is me for a while, and then just go on for hours of woe is me to redirect attention to this nonsense bullshit. I feel like it's almost like reducing the time in the video in which the actual problem is talked about, he believes will minimize the importance of that part of the drama in the eyes of his audience. I don't know if it's like a psychological thing on his part or if he's trying to pull a psychological thing on his audience. I already covered the Hassan thing, Negan. You'll have to like rewind the stream, but it's a VOD, so you can just do that now. Like you can rewind that segment and watch it live now.
Days and then head back. This went on for a little less than a year. So I began brainstorming new movies that we could film in Ontario. This is where the multiple posters and teaser trailers came from. I was trying to create something tangible to show.
Okay,
that work
I'm
was still being
gonna skip until it starts being relevant to the drama again.
done, as well as the equipment that we'd already purchased and the legal costs of setting up Telos is in public domain. So we thought it would be a great choice, and the cast could be.
Is
kept
he
down to
just bitching about
heads
money?
once we left the East Coast? But the intention was never not gone to Ontario. The move uprooted everything. During our work on Telos is also when the YouTube channel started getting sponsors, which, if you followed me on social media, you know the clusterfuck I ended up in that led to me moving twice in 2 months. In the last couple of months, I received a lot of emails, as you can imagine, many from people who were rightfully let down.
This guy's just such a fucking manipulative, slimy, snaky little goblin. Like we've gone from he's completely dropped the topic at 15 minutes in. We are now 27 minutes in, and he has moved on through like a saga of stories entirely unrelated to this.
Some from people threatening everything from doxing to violence because
You know what? Someone needs to make a meme about this where it's like, I'm really sorry for plagiarizing, like, all in, like, big text with, like, a Wojak of James Somerton, and then it suddenly trails off into a massive wall of text. And it's, like, the James Somerton apology / response Wojak meme, and it can just forever be used as a reference to when YouTubers pull this shit. Like, I'm being held accountable for something really bad, but I want to come back to YouTube and, like, grow and, like, have a career here. I'm going to distract everybody from the important stuff with, like, an unrelated saga of stories of woe is me. YouTubers do this when they're in drama and they're, like, the manipulative types, and I feel like we need to make it into a meme format that we can respond with.
the internet. Some with the kindest words of support I've ever heard, and others simply asking why I made it so difficult to contact me and if I was okay. They wanted to know why, as they put it, I nuked my social media presence.
What are the chances he privates this in just a few hours? Yeah, it's definitely best if you're a YouTuber wanting to cover this soon that you, like, download it, because there's a good chance that the very bad response to this video causes him to just decide to throw in the towel, delete everything, and, like, it's possible this may be one of the last. This could be the last day his channel's, like, up on YouTube. He could delete it by morning with how bad the response has been so far. He's had to hide the likes because, like, dislikes are already hidden. The dude had to hide the likes because you can see how many views a video has, and if it has very few likes to views, that's basically, you can kind of intuit that it has a shitload of dislikes. And he doesn't want people to see that there is a bandwagon to jump on, or the river is going one way or the other. I'm surprised, though, that he did keep the comments open. I'm surprised he didn't just straight up shut down the comments section, though to be fair, that would look really bad if he did that.
From doxing to violence, because the internet. Some with the kindest words of support I've ever heard, and others simply asking why I made it so difficult to contact me and if I was okay. They wanted to know why, as they put it, I nuked my social media presence. To be frank, it's because I didn't want to exist anymore. If you watched my honestly...
All right. I think this is where we're about to reach peak Audacity levels. He copyright claimed the archive channels. That's crazy. All right, I think we're about to reach peak Audacity levels. Are you ready?
horrendous apology video back in December. You know I tried to make that happen. The not existing thing. But it was more intense than taking too many pills. It's not that I didn't want to be alive anymore. It's that I wished I'd never existed at all. That everyone I'd ever known would be better off had I just never been there. Very George Bailey, which is fitting, given that it was
Just
Christmas.
fucking crying.
Some very, very dedicated doctors and nurses, and one very good friend that I'm even here able to film this right now. I'm not going to name her because I don't want to expose anyone else to the small, but...
Zan, can you turn him up? He's too fucking quiet. Yeah, he started to like slowly lower his volume down to a little bit of a mumble as the video's gone on.
Seriously unstable group of people who watched the Plagiarism in YouTube video and thought, well, he should be dead. Like I said, it was a very small group. But when they find out your address, and some of them are actually in your city,
they come to your house, get a
can
gun.
be terrifying.
Get a
And
gun.
they did find my address. And at least a couple of them showed up while I was at the hospital. My neighbors did report them to the police, and I won't go into any more details to that. I'm not sure if I legally even can, but there's a reason.
Yes.
I left
We'll take
Ontario
your word
within
for
a
it.
week of getting the okay to do so from the doctors. So what's next then? Like I said, you'll notice that a few of my videos are live again on the channel.
His last video was, I tried to kill myself. My editor was the real thief. Can I come back now? Really? That was the old video that he's since taken down? That's funny as shit.
These ones don't come from plagiarized content, and for the most part are written entirely by Nick. Nick lost 3 years worth of work when everything on the channel was taken down, and that's simply not
Well, he's
fair.
Canadian? Oh, yeah, it's possible he's not, like, able to get a gun, considering Canada has very strict, like, standards you have to follow. And if this guy has any history of, like, suicidality or, like, weird shit like that, criminal history, anything along those lines, then he wouldn't be able to buy a gun, most likely. Especially with his online behavior. Honestly, if he was a gun owner in Canada, the shit that he pulled with, like, the online meltdowns could have gotten him checked out. Like for like whether or not he should continue to own a firearm. They're very thorough with their like daily checks of every firearm owner in Canada. So yeah, maybe you shouldn't have one, but like I don't know. Like it's just I feel like unless you've got people literally coming to your house, like I mean I've been doxxed. I've had my address be known, you know? I moved when I was ready to move, and I didn't get doxxed at my new place. My place after that didn't get doxxed, and as far as I'm aware, this place hasn't been doxxed. So if it did, then, I mean, I wouldn't be upset unless I was getting swatted or actively had people, like, attacking me or like, loitering at my house or something, you know? But yeah, like, I don't know. Like, unless it literally gets to that degree... Most YouTubers have been doxxed. It's the reality of being a YouTuber. If you are a YouTuber, your address is probably out there, and you just kind of deal with it like celebrities deal with it. If you can afford a security guard and you're that wealthy, you can. But like many celebrities don't have that kind of money, and being an online figure is like being a B-list celebrity. So you can get doxxed. Wasn't some chick trying to dox you last year? Oh yeah, there was that lady that tried to sue me, but at the time I didn't have like an official address, so there was no address attached to my name at the time, except for my old one. So technically I guess that place did get doxed, but after like years, like a year of me not living there, so I mean, it doesn't really matter. But like, there was no address attached to me, so there was no way to dox me. And yeah, that was the lady who tried to sue me because I defended Keffels in a video. And in that video, I mentioned allegations that had come out against that lady. And instead of trying to debunk those allegations, she threatened to sue me, didn't show up to court, and lost by default. And yeah, just kind of goes how it goes. Turns out just trying to write up a fucking... like serving notice or whatever to try and scare somebody into like saying you're not what you have been claimed to have been is not a very good method. Doesn't really work.
To Nick. He worked hard writing those videos.
The American legal system isn't perfect, but the people whose job it is to decide whether they want to dedicate a long amount of time to litigating a court case like that see that report and they go, get this the fuck out of my face, and they dropped it in like 5 seconds.
Something to point to when he's looking for new writing work. I've also done some heavy editing on other videos that did contain other people's writing, breaking it down to only original content. Again,
but you know what, Balth? I respect it. Here's the thing, Zan. I do not doubt that people showed up to his house. The internet is a crazy place and there are crazy people, but the problem is I do not care that it happened to him. You know what? I respect it.
And so that Nick has an actual portfolio of work. As mentioned at the beginning of the video, revenue from these will be going to the H-Bomber Guy team to be sent out to the writers I plagiarized from or donated to charity. However,
the ball is in their court. What a slimy little bitch boy. What a slimy little soy. You guys ever heard the term, like, new male? I feel like I've never seen a person that word applies to better than this guy. Like, N-U-M-A-L-E. It's like an incel term for, like, soy boys. Like, it's the new soy boy phrase. It's probably going to get popular in the next year, trust me. This guy is an unironic new male.
Works out in the end. These edited videos will be going back up on the channel in the next few days, I think, along with 2 completed video essays that we didn't actually get to release before everything happened. There's also some recent videos that didn't have any plagiarism that the sponsor asked to be taken down, and their ads removed. So they'll also be going back up without the sponsors, obviously. And soon I will be releasing a new video written entirely by me.
Guys, do we react to it? Do we react to it when it comes out? How much do you want to bet it does get played? Okay, either it's garbage because he can't plagiarize anyone, or it fails because no one cares, or he just straight up plagiarizes again. I don't know. It's going to be worth checking out when he does put that video out. I don't think he'll plagiarize. I think it's either going to fall off because without the plagiarism, his videos don't hit the same, plus the drama, or he'll genuinely, like, learn from this, but in more of a, like, I learned what happens when you touch the stove kind of way, and not so much of a I learned a valuable moral lesson, realized I did something wrong, and I've, like, internally processed that and recognized I was in the wrong and want to actively be a better person from here on out. Like, there's a big difference from scared away from behavior by consequences of that behavior and changing as a person and no longer behaving like that because you internally have realized that was a mistake and you have actually grown from that point and have an internal drive to be better. Yeah, sorry I got caught rather than fuck, that was a mistake and I want to rectify it and be better from now on. It's very different. James Somerton has, like, had the stove burn reaction of like the internet getting mad at his bad behavior, and now he's learned he can't get away with it. I don't believe he's learned that what he did was wrong. I think he learned it really sucks when he does that kind of stuff and gets caught, and he doesn't want that to happen again. So maybe that is what will keep him in line from here on out. But will it matter? That's the big question.
Properly cited, with all sources credited. Maybe no one will watch it, but I hope you do. I want to prove that I have the ability to do this without abusing other people's work. It's a very different kind of video than I used to make, though. I'd say it's more of a documentary than a video essay. You won't find my opinions anywhere in there, just cited facts. I'd like to keep making videos like these new ones.
Interesting. That's never good. Big drama, massive loss of, like, subs and stuff. I'm going to change my entire content strategy. Those 3 things are like the trifecta of guaranteed channel death.
About people and events in gay history and definitive gay movies that you maybe never heard of. Stuff like that. It's actually something that I planned on doing this year anyway. There would be 2 videos a month. Nick would write a video essay, and I would write one of these documentary-style videos that would fulfill the 2 videos per month sponsorship deal that we had at the time. I have no sponsors now, so probably not going to be 2 videos a month. It'll probably just be the one, which will give more time for research and citation.
Wait, what? Okay, this is like Patreon paid my rent fucking lefty brain video essayist logic. Like, yes, I don't have sponsors adding extra money to my income anymore, so I'm going to upload once a month instead of twice. Admitting that he uploaded twice a month before so he could make more money off of sponsors, and also indicating that, like, the quantity of his content does not correlate with, like his income. And so he can continue, or indicating he thinks he can continue, a very like lazy lifestyle of like one video a month, pay his bills through Patreon. You know, like, guys, I've made prepared videos before. I've edited before. I'm not saying video essays, especially well-made ones, don't take a long time to make. But, like, unless it's like a 4-hour-long video essay or hours-long video essay with heavy editing and script writing and, like, set design, like what ContraPoints does or whatever, I don't believe that it takes months to make a video like that, or even a month. Realistically, the YouTubers that do this kind of stuff probably binge work. Like, I bet ContraPoints probably even does this. I'm betting ContraPoints probably, like, spends a year off and does 1 month of binge work and then uploads the video. So it is technically a year's worth of work, but binged out in a month. That's how YouTubers tend to work, especially in the realm of editing. And editing is a lot of the time effort that goes into this like type of content, the video essay stuff. So I don't know. It once again comes off as disconnected. What did ContraPoints do? Nothing. I was just using ContraPoints like quality of videos as a comparison, because a lot of like she probably puts in like a year's worth of work, but it takes her a year to make the video, and I don't think it's like spread out over the year. I think she probably binges it out like a month. Like she just gets the entire video made in 1 month, but there's like 11-month gaps between uploads, you know?
Crediting and making sure
But I'm not saying it's not a year's worth of work put into each video. It is.
that there is no misinformation in the videos.
New video essayists like Noah Sampson want to be ContraPoints and Curtis Connor at the same time. I've never heard it put better than you just did. I Hate Vertigo.
Which I know that misinformation made its way into our past videos. That was not something that we intended. In some cases, it was information that I was told by people that I considered experts. In other cases, it was information that we had researched. In other cases, it was things that Nick had learned in university. The point being, it was never malicious. We weren't trying to lie about things, despite what a lot of people think. We were not trying to spread misinformation. That was not ever our intention. And that's something else that I want to apologize for. As for...
Jesus Christ. There was more shit that he did besides just plagiarizing. Apparently, he also is pushing misinfo in his videos.
For my Patreon, everyone can stop worrying about me relaunching it right in time for a billing cycle. That will not be happening. I don't want anyone who either doesn't know about the plagiarism or simply forgot to unsubscribe to get billed. So I'm going to start from zero. I have put together a new Patreon account. So if you want to support my documentaries about gay history...
You know what? That at least fair. He didn't, honestly though, I'm guessing he probably did not have a lot of people who just totally forgot to unsub from him on Patreon. I feel like most people who actually use Patreon are pretty on top of like the billing. So I imagine that he's more so just trying to do a whole new fresh slate rebrand and hope, like, how much do you want to bet he renames his channel and changes his profile picture? Do you want to know somebody in... I'm going to move off of the James Somerton thing here because his face is making me mad. And I'm going to talk about somebody else, actually, who H-Bomber guy called out in that video and apparently had a history with in regards to the plagiarism stuff. And I absolutely did not know that this guy was actually like a rebranded, plagiarizing, disgraced YouTuber. I had no clue. And it's because of H-Bomber guy that I now know. But most of this guy's like viewer base doesn't, and he's growing alarmingly fast. And he got a very, very brief like name drop segment in this video. So I'm going to try to see if I can find... Is this it? Is this it?
Know much about those who came before us.
Stephen.
Oh.
Part I. Philip.
On everyone, thanks for clicking on the video.
Philip Mewson was a YouTuber who reviewed Nintendo Switch games and accessories and talked about Nintendo-related news. His videos were
I think this
surprisingly
might be
well
him.
edited, and by that I mean they used way too many fancy transitions. I mean, they're not even hard to do, you just drag and drop them on your timeline and what? But when he applied for a job at IGN, his obvious mastery of a plugin everyone else also has, and existing channel with a decent size led to him getting picked as their new Nintendo editor. On August 6th, 2018, his review of which means having also seen the copied work. And if it's anything obscure, this was criticized heavily by everyone for obvious reasons. But looking back on it while trying to understand,
Try to look at all resources and through my
attention by reporting what he has done. Nintendo Wire
decimating mobs upon
to the Super NES era. While this isn't merely a
news about the then upcoming Nintendo Switch. News from other people he respects. Rip me off. I'm the bad guy. I don't. In 2016, says it. At the start, I briefly mentioned one of the many times someone's entire idea and thumbnail.
I think I found it.
The thief later flipped the thumbnail and changed the color counter where he made fun of a guy by joking about how difficult to ignore that he specifically wouldn't. Your convention was found to hadn't seen a speech unasked at the time in respect for Nancy Reagan. Well, plagiarize to respect someone, or if you don't like, seemingly punished in about Michelle Obama. Most speakers love to in live video response while defending himself on the grounds he actually.
Okay, this fucking guy. Yep, Luke Stevens, aka Lukey Poo. You got it. I hate Vertigo. During the day before shit, I was watching lots of videos, like kind of investigating the studio and all that, especially before the game even came out and we knew 100 billion% for sure that it was all a scam and knew what would happen after. So it was all a very big mystery. Like there was still this like twinge, this sliver of hope. Like maybe this is just going to be the biggest misunderstanding of all time. Maybe there's just been some like language barrier stuff that has caused this misunderstanding. Maybe when this game comes out, we get a good replacement for DayZ, but a very tiny sliver. And one of the YouTube channels I discovered and started watching was a guy named Luke Stevens, and he's getting really fucking big these days. And then, you know, I'd watch him, never thought much of it. Like just a guy that talks about like game stuff. Here, I'll bring up his channel. Like he doesn't really seem like a very controversial guy, although I will say, looking at his like profile picture he now has, I feel like it should be kind of obvious that this dude's like a shithead kind of chuddy piece of shit. Look at this dude's profile picture. I don't know why, but there's something about the energy of that guy's profile picture that just doesn't sit right with me. He almost looks like alt universe Nazi me. Maybe it's like Uncanny Valley I'm feeling. 666 videos. Holy shit, he is the devil. Yeah, as you can see, he's ballooning to like scary amounts of subs. He's an he's an Actman ripoff. Exactly, Scapegoat. Literally an Actman ripoff. It's all he is. And I did not know that this guy had some sort of history or beef or anything like that. But I believe this is the section talking about him.
Got the idea from someone on Twitch who saw my video, and they're definitely real. He still took the time to explain that he also didn't like I criticized right-wing YouTubers he was a fan of.
I thought H-Bomber was a relatively decent video creator. I disagreed and didn't like some of the stuff he did, like when he went after Sargon of Akkad and some other YouTubers.
This sat with me. Why was it so important for him to signal his allegiances like this? I think the point was to make his theft an act in a larger culture war. Even if he did rip me off, I'm the bad guy. I don't deserve to be treated properly, so if anything, it's good if he did. You don't steal from your friends, you steal from the guy who made fun of
That's
Daddy.
him.
At this point, I'm convinced the only thing H-Bomber...
He's literally like a ex-right-wing YouTuber who plagiarized H-Bomber guy and then like tried to like explain it off by saying, oh no, he's a bad guy, he's a lefty, he's a woke SJW, I imagine it's back then, and has now rebranded to this Luke Stevens channel. And I like made this connection while watching the video and was like, holy shit. Yeah, I unsubbed from that guy real fucking fast.
Guy needs more than a testosterone shot and some estrogen blockers is a lesson in humility.
Okay, where does, and I mean this as a compliment, the most fuckable twink I've ever seen in my life get off telling me how to manage my T levels? Is he speaking from experience? The way Philip pivoted when caught to attacking his accusers feels all too familiar to me.
Wait, did he like untwinkify himself after H-Bomber guy called him, and I quote, the most fuckable twink he's seen in his life? Is that why he did the arc that he went on and became like a scraggly chud?
As someone who has received the same treatment from someone like him, there's this indignation to it. I'm better than you. How dare you tell me not to steal? What's emerging here is a social...
Yeah, I feel like it's just that segment. I recognized him, and I connected the dots, and I was like, holy shit. He rebranded himself, and I didn't know who he was, and I subbed to him, and I immediately unsubbed. But sadly, that guy is like an Actman clone, and he's quickly becoming like the Sunny V2 to the actual you know how Sunny V2 is like a pale imitation of like the right opinion and well-made documentary videos about YouTube history, but it's like churned out with like mass SEO for the sake of like maximum income and like monetization of current topics. Like Sunny V2 is just a pale imitation of like The Right Opinion. In the same way, I feel like Luke Stevens is a pale imitation of the Act Man and is going to kind of take that same niche comparably. So yeah, I felt like calling out another person who I feel did not get enough shit during the H-Bomber guy plagiarism video arc. I feel like Luke Stevens basically got away with it completely scot-free because the video just did not focus on him enough. Maybe we'll do a whole video dedicated to exposing him one day. Like I'll do some deep dive research and get like as much links as I can get together and like do a whole segment talking about him, his history as like a chud YouTuber, his rebrand, plagiarism, all of that. That could be a good video. Maybe we could actually hit him where it hurts with a dedicated takedown video. I feel like it would actually get in a lot of people's attention because who would expect a takedown video on a YouTuber like him? Like their expectations might, like their curiosity might be piqued.